when it gets close to 0 degrees or even, even in the low teens, as a landlord, you have to be ready. So Meg and I are back here, one of our new construction projects, and right now, if you take a look outside, we got snow on the ground, and it is 0 degrees out here right now, Meg.
And it feels like negative 15.
Yeah, when the wind picks up, it is just awful. So, Meg, you own a lot of rental properties. I own a lot of rental properties, and I can tell you this 0 degree weather does not help our rental properties and our tenants.
I feel like I've been having like an anxiety attack of like, oh my gosh, like what else, what's going to happen? Like what is this going to bring? Like no heat calls, frozen pipes, broken pipes.
It's definitely coming. Do you have any calls right now going on with no heat?
I don't have any with no heat. I have one with frozen pipes.
Do you have someone going there?
Yeah, somebody's taking care of it right now.
Okay.
So luckily that's all it's been so far. But I have reached out to every single one of my tenants to confirm is everything good?
You reached out to all of them?
I reached out to every single one of my tenants to see
separate texts?
Yep, separate texts.
That seems like a lot of work.
Well, I mean, I'd rather do that than have oh crap.
So when it gets close to 0 degrees or even in the low teens, as a landlord, you have to be ready. So some things you need to do that I believe you should be doing, you should have these backup heaters that you can take to tenants. And I like the ones with the oil in them. Do you like the ones with the oil in them?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely better than that because, in weather conditions like this, like realistically, you could lose power. You could lose electric. And then if you just have electric.
No, these are electric. These are the electric oil ones. You can buy them on Amazon. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I know
so
what
you
you're
don't,
talking
you do not want to get the electric heaters that have all the stuff you can see on them. They're dangerous. Kids can stick their fingers in them. And they can be problematic. Like if someone has something like fuzz in the air, or like a towel, or dog runs around the room and gets something on it, it can catch on fire. Look at this. I got a picture of it. These are the kinds you need to buy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you could put a screenshot. Look at one of those. These are the oil-filled electric radiators, and these are 100% what you should be doing. And so if you have, let's say, 10 rental properties, I would say you should have maybe 5 to 6 or maybe even 7 of these ready to go in the event someone goes down. Because you might need to take 2 or 3 sometimes for a rental.
For one unit.
If they lose their heating system.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary.
Yeah. Because if you just take them one, it may not heat a couple rooms in the house.
Yeah.
And then what could happen is the pipes could freeze. And I could tell you, when you own, we own a few hundred rental properties just in the Carlisle area, and we own about 800 overall. But years ago, we had bought all these rental properties, and we didn't quite winterize them because we never had the weather get as cold as it does. And when the weather went down in the low weather for a couple of days in a row, we had a whole bunch of freezing pipes. It was overwhelming. My brothers and I had to go out and form crews and go out to these houses and start literally. Not only were we there to solve the problem or thaw out, like with heaters, the frozen pipes, we were there to give them temporary heat and get the pipes unfrozen, make sure they weren't broken. And if they were broken, we had to fix them. And then we also solved the problem. We insulated them or set up a system that it wouldn't have it happen again.
I know. Well, see, my one property that has frozen pipes right now, it has heat tape on it. And it still froze. And I'm like, how? Oh my gosh, I can't even
Who
fathom
put the heat
this.
tape on?
I mean, it was installed probably 3 years ago, and Amir did it.
So do you check it? Do you turn it off in the off season?
Yeah.
Did you check it this year?
I mean, I didn't go out and check it.
Who turned it on?
The tenant did. So. Yeah.
And they confirmed that it worked?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
But so it could be heat tape, it could be insulating, it could be just insulating, like in a basements are where the worst things happen that I've noticed, is you might have to go insulate the basement walls, like just to keep a little extra of that, it's the draft that comes in.
Yeah.
A lot of times on older homes, exterior walls, sometimes they have these sink, like the kitchen sink is sometimes on the exterior of the wall, and then the air comes in somehow through the wall and gets up in there and freezes those lines. And the second something like that breaks, like you're screwed.
Yeah.
Especially if the tenant were out of the house for, 6-8 hours, or heaven forbid, like 2 days. Like, you have no idea.
I know. It's really crazy because that's another thing, because last night after work, I left around like 6:30, and I went around to all my rental properties to make sure that they did the snow, because the tenant is responsible for snow, and most of them did not do the snow, so I was up shoveling. But there was a couple that I'm like, wow, they normally do it. Like, I wonder if they're out of town. And like, thankfully I did, because I messaged them and was like, are you guys out of town? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, now I got to go over to that property and make sure like heat's okay, and pipes and stuff, because and otherwise, if I wouldn't have done that, like, I would have just assumed, oh yeah, it's all good, because they didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But it may not be.
And it's hard to get around all of them in that situation. When you start
Yeah.
to scale and have so many rentals, you can't communicate with everybody individually. So you have to have some trust that your tenant is taking care of the property.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can remember back in the day doing some of that stuff, and I got pneumonia doing that back then, and
Yeah, I
it was
remember you
bad. It
saying
was
that.
very, very bad. I got in a fight with my brother. I got punched by my youngest brother, and it was awful. I mean,
You probably deserved it.
I probably deserved it, but he punched me, and I didn't even know what to do. I didn't want to punch him back
my gosh.
because I would probably hurt him, and then he wouldn't be there working. So I was the cooler one of the two in that moment. But I was barking
Did he
orders.
punch you in front of the tenant?
Worse, he punched me in front of all the employees. We had like 3 guys working for us at the time. Levi was there. My brother Mike was there. He punched me in front of my brother and some other people. Like, that was pretty embarrassing. And it took a lot of will not to whale him back. Yeah, but I knew I needed him, so I couldn't do it.
That's hilarious.
And we did like a 12-hour stretch. Like, we went all night. We got home at like 3 in the morning. We just kept, let us know where the next one is. Let us know where it is. And we were there. We did more than just thaw out the pipes. We fixed the problem for the long haul.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this morning we were getting a good bit of calls in the rental department for no heat and frozen pipes. So we were out there right away with guys, and
Have you heard of any that broke yet or not?
so far nothing's broke as far as I'm aware.
So that's the key as a landlord, is when you get the call or when you find out there is a problem, you want to get out there as fast as you can with your people. You don't want to wait 6 hours to get out there because it could be too late. And you really don't have the problem until it thaws out. Because once it freezes, you don't really know it's a problem. But when it thaws out is when you start to have a problem.
Yeah.
Another big thing is you're going into winter, and I kind of botched this year, is I did not get I had my hoses taken off my reel, but they did not drain the hose part that goes into the faucet.
Oh, wow.
So there's water sitting in that, and it could cause that problem. I'm hoping that I don't have a major problem.
Yeah.
I might. At my own house, and I'm experienced, and I know what I'm doing. So can you imagine a tenant not doing some of this stuff? It could happen very, very easily. Yeah. They almost should be like automatic text things. Hey, do you have any hoses on your rental or something that you need to disconnect going into winter? I mean, that could save a lot of problems, because it could rack their brain to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, even 2 weeks ago at my my 1-3 unit, the one that I used to live in, I had taken the hose to my new house, and there was no other hose on the property. And I went over there like 2 weeks ago to get like shovels and
There was a hose connected?
There was a hose connected. And I was like, what the heck? Like, who brought this hose? Like, why is it even connected? Like, so I mean, I disconnected it right then and there and threw it in the shed and locked it up, because it's like, it's 2 degrees outside. Why do you have a hose?
Was it froze?
Like, yeah.
Did you turn the water on?
No, I didn't turn the water on. I just...
So if you turned the water on and the water came out, you're fine. If you turned it on, it's frozen, you could be screwed. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand.
So when it thaws out and then floods everything on the inside of there, is there a basement in there?
No.
Right to the floor?
Yeah, it's right to the floor.
So how are you going to vet this?
I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. That's another day problem.
But you realize you could have a problem.
I know. That's why I was livid, and I threw it in the shed and locked it up, because no one has access to those sheds, just me.
They should not have access to the hose.
Yeah. Well, it means that they went out and bought a hose and hooked it up.
They shouldn't have access to the water hydrant.
How am I supposed to control that? It's outside.
Shut it off. Like if you had a lock on it, well, that could be a problem too, right? There's no way to stop that. Yeah. But there's all kinds of problems, especially when you're dealing with cold weather in central Pennsylvania. I mean, we can go 2 winters without having this type of cold, but then when it hits, it's like all kinds of problems.
Yeah, the last couple of years, I mean, we've had a very easy winter. We didn't have a ton of snow. We didn't have, the cold colds. And then this year, it's like, oh my gosh, we're getting clobbered with snow. We're getting -degree weather. So it's like, this is really a different year. I mean, even like North Carolina right now, like my friends that are living in North Carolina, like they're getting snow too. So it's like, it's not just us.
Ocean City, Maryland, snow.
Yeah.
North Carolina, snow.
Yeah.
Texas, snow right now.
Yeah.
This like the whole everywhere's like from here basically to the edge of Florida is getting snow, and from here to the other side of the Rockies is getting snow. Basically, from here to California is getting snow.
Yeah.
It is a different world out there right now.